Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. I recently got this very huge box from a friend and it's actually too big to fit upstairs in my little attic. So let's open it now. Sorry about the lighting conditions down here in my hallway. It was actually sent in the mail and it weighs over 10 kilograms. And it's not a printer. I'm gonna spare you for the rest of the opening details. It's not that fun to watch, I think. Well, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, as you can see, it's a computer. Or maybe you can see. So what is this? And did it survive shipping? It's a Tiki 100, a Norwegian history item from back in the 80s. And it's very, very dirty. Oh my god. And it has 2 floppy disk drives. And this was given to me by Ronny Hansen, and I'll come back to him later in the video because he does some interesting retro computing projects himself. But now I'm gonna take this up to my lab and take a closer look at it. But first I wanna say thanks a lot for this very valuable donation from Ronny. Appreciate it. I hope I can fix it up and make it great again. Whew. Yeah, that brought some sweat on me. As I said, this is a Norwegian microcomputer from the 80s, the Tiki 100. I'll tell you a little bit more about its history a little bit later. It doesn't look very nice. It's very, very dirty, especially the keyboard. It needs a really good clean. It has some scratches, I don't know. I can't feel them, so maybe it's not deep. One screw fell off and I think the whole case is loose here. So in this video I'm gonna investigate this computer. I'm gonna clean it up, replace some capacitors and clean the disk drives and everything. And yeah, I don't really know if it's working or not. If it's not working at all, I'll definitely try and fix it. Because these computers are getting rare now and we need to preserve them for the future. I already got 2 of these from before and I have made some videos about the Tiki 100 before, so you can take a look at those if you want to. It is a 8-bit computer and it uses the Z80 CPU, but it can run MS-DOS with an expansion card. I don't have such a card. It came in various models. I'm not sure which model this is. It's probably printed under it, but I'll come back with more specs later. It has 64 kilobytes of RAM and quite good graphics capabilities and video output capabilities for its time. But it is very heavy and bulky and it is full of heavy metal sheets inside and this thick, heavy fiberglass cover. I wonder if this is mold. It has many ports on the back. It has UHF, RF modulator out, composite video out, TTL RGB, analog RGB, audio, power button, RS-232, and that's the printer port over there, you can see it. So it says here number 414/715. KONTIKI Data AS, Oslo, Norway, and it was actually called KONTIKI in the beginning, these machines, but if you know your history and about Thor Heyerdahl and his KONTIKI ship and voyage, then you might understand that he wasn't particularly interested in having a computer named after his vessel. But this is labeled KONTIKI. The other 2 I have, they're only labeled Tiki 100. And this, I haven't seen that on other variants. This is probably a reset, but I don't know. Yes, it seems like many screws are still there, but I think maybe this has gotten a little bit of a shipping damage. If it wasn't the damage from before, seems like screws are ripped loose. Hopefully not too much, at least on this side. Yeah, and the whole case and everything here, it seems a little bit homemade, to be honest. I think this screw is simply broken off and there's a piece on the inside sitting on it. I can't get it loose. Yeah, now it should be loose. Yeah, right. Very dirty on the inside as well. I'm happy to see that it has 2 floppy disk drives. None of the other machines I have has that. They only have 1. Nice thing about this machine, you can actually hook up a Gotek drive to it. Yeah, and look at all that dirt and grime. So this is the simple power supply. Looks kind of different to what I'm used to on these machines. And underneath here is a very large motherboard. It covers the entire machine. Yeah, it has a very nice mechanical keyboard, although very dirty. So to remove the top plate here, you just unscrew these 2 front screws. Quite large screws. And now I should be able to just lift this up and tilt it back to take a look. Yes, there you have it. Definitely one of the earlier boards because it has this huge transformer there, which the later models that I have didn't. Small little speaker there. And if you see the 2 halves of the motherboard, this part is the computer part with the CPU and stuff like that. I think we have RAM here and maybe there. Expansion ports, 4 of those. There's 1 empty socket there, probably for an additional ROM. And there's a ROM, says DD 1.3. And over here is the sound and the graphics part. It doesn't have any particular graphics chip. All the graphics is implemented custom by using TTL logic chips for the most part. And the audio chip, it's the AY38912. That's a well-known chip. So this actually looks good, and before I even think about powering it up, I'm gonna do some cleaning. I don't like to work on these dirty machines. Luckily there is no refa capacitors here, just the regular electrolyte. And yeah, this one is 4700 microfarad, these big ones 10,000 microfarad. I don't think I have such large caps, but this, I think it provides plus and minus 12 volt and 5 volts. With regards to the case, it has metal inserts, and I see a couple of them has been ripped out. Yes, there's the one that I couldn't get out. Yeah, it's quite stuck. And the model, yeah, the same serial number, and it's Model 3 Revision C. Doesn't have any date. Yeah, but I see that most of the chips has a date code of 1983 or 82. So I just thought I'll talk a little bit about the history of the Tiki 100 and the Tiki Data Corporation. Tiki Data was founded in 1982, and the goal was to build a Norwegian computer for schools. And it was made for the specifications of the Norwegian government, much like the BBC was made in the UK. I'm sorry if the audio is a little bit different because somehow my microphone now stopped working. Here's an overview of the specifications and models for the TK100. As mentioned, a Zilog Z80 at 4 MHz, 64 kilobytes of RAM, 32 kilobytes of dedicated video RAM, 8 kilobytes of ROM, Yeah, kind of advanced graphics for that time with various modes and resolutions. Up to 16 colors at the same time, but it has a palette of 256 selectable colors. The sound is generated by the well-known AI 38912 chip, and it came with 1 or 2 floppy disk drives. Later variants also featured the 18/16, which could run DOS compatible software, and the later models, the Tiki 200, 300 and 386, was actually just ordinary PC clones. After that, the company went bust and was bought by the Norwegian company Merkantil Data. It's like I want to wash the whole thing in water. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, and with the keyboard, at least the keycaps comes up quite easy, so well, easy. It's a little bit difficult to get this tool between, but then at least I can clean the keycaps, which are the most dirty, and then vacuum the rest. Look how dirty these keycaps are. Hope it can be cleaned off. Yeah, that's some kind of strange contraption for the larger keys. Yeah, I found this was the easiest method. Okay, the last one, spacebar. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not that bad, is it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, only problem is that the ribbon cable for the keyboard, it's soldered into the board. I want to take it off. I'm not sure if I'm willing to risk that, because it can easily be damaged. Yeah, and this is a Norwegian manufacturing on its best, some simple styrofoam. Yeah, but for now I clean these, and they need real good cleaning. Warm water and chemicals. I brought my big vacuum cleaner up here. No, I heard that it's not a good idea to use your house vacuum cleaner on electronic components like chips, because it creates a lot of static electricity. However, I take my chances on the keyboard. Yeah, that's much better. It's a little bit of dirt. I can just use some IPA there. I cleaned this thing up, and now it looks much better. Yes, it says minus and plus 12 volts and plus 5 volts there. And everything looks to be in quite good condition. I don't see any leakage or anything from capacitors. So then I think I can turn this on, and we can do a little test. See if it got some life in it. The biggest concern is, of course, this old power supply. So this is the mains input, or the input from the transformer, the AC input. And then we have voltages for the motherboard, plus minus 12 and plus 5. And then we have power to the 2 hard drives. So I think I'm just gonna disconnect these 3 just for now, to avoid any damages if there's over voltage or anything. Oh yeah, these are stuck. Yes, let me check the fuses. Good and good. It has a non-grounded mains cable. The power switch is right there, and I have turned it on now, but I didn't turn on the mains yet. I want to stand away a little bit first, but let's turn it on now. Yeah, that wasn't very dramatic, was it? Now the motherboard and the drives are hooked up. Let's see now. Yeah, we have life. I hear both drives are spinning. This one is blinking. There is a light in that LED. Now I can hear a little bit of humming. I'm not sure if it's from the power supply, the transformer, or if it's actually from the speaker or what. Yeah, but that's amazing. This has probably not been powered up for 30 years. Let me just hook up the screen then. I just connect the composite video out. TV is on. Yeah, we have something. Pretty poor picture. KONTIKI 100 monitor version 1.30. This machine is of course Norwegian, so all texts and everything is in Norwegian. But it says here, insert a floppy disk and press B. But that's a very poor picture quality, and it's supposed to be black and white text. Of course it has the RGB, but I'm not sure if I have the cable for it. Yeah, I have to look if I have an RGB cable. But I connected the RF, and I'm gonna see if I can find the channel. It found one! Yes, look at that. That's much better. So that's the first time I've seen a machine where the RF signal is much better than the composite. If I switch... now I changed back to SCART, to composite video, and now it's much better. How come? What happened? Maybe it's just my TV that's acting up. Yeah, it must be. Well, that's acceptable. Next up is to test the floppy disk drives, see if they work. It's a little bit hard to do anything with all the keycaps missing, but they're still drying after being cleaned. Yeah, I have a disk here. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, of course, it works. I think these drives are 360 kilobytes. Now, I want to change to drive B, but how do I figure out which keys to type? I need to take a look at that photo. B is down here, yeah, B, but colon. I think it's shift and that, yes. Yeah, then type the catalog command, cat. Yes, that works. B works. Now back to A. Yes. Alright, so on this floppy disk there's different things. There's a basic and there's the game Python. Yes. Yeah, it's like this snake game, so I don't remember. Yeah, you can use the cursor keys. Well, it works and the colors looks rather nice. Still, I want to remove the drives so that I can clean them up. They're probably, yeah, dirty inside. Yeah, and there's 4 screws underneath. Yeah, I think I need to prop it up. Yeah, lots of dust behind there. Connector sits so tightly. Yeah. So what kind of drives is in this machine? Yeah, it says here a TIAC 1473 3730 10. Sankyo, made in Japan. But this looks to be in very good shape. Yes, and they're both actually TIAC FD55A, that's probably the correct model name for this. Yeah, this top cover needs to come up. Flathead screws. There's a little battle damage. Very sharp edges on these. Everything seems to be aluminium, so no rust. Yes, what can I say? They look remarkably clean inside. I mean, the machine was dirty as hell and full of dust, but these, they look like new. I can see the drive head, it's, yeah, shiny, not dirty at all. Yeah, of course, the metal gives away some oxidation, but no dust and dirt. So they have probably been very protected from the outside environment. Still, I'm gonna rub some IPA over the head. Then dry it with a dry side. Yeah, and it slides very nicely. There's nothing down here. These rails here, they have usually some grease and yeah, dirt, but no. Still, I'm gonna add a little bit of a silicone grease onto these rails so that they run even better. Just a little bit. I don't think there's a lot more to do. I mean, you have this moving part here, and yeah, looks to have a little bit of grease from before. Just add a tiny bit there. So the stepper motor here, it doesn't have like this worm screw that you see on other drives, so there's actually nothing to lubricate there, and it runs very smoothly. Yeah, that was the easiest servicing of a floppy disk drives I think I ever did. How did this go again? Was it like that? The keycaps are cleaned and they look very nice now, very clean. And there's a few of them that has a little bit weak print, but that's not because of my cleaning. That was like that from before. Yeah, it's looking nice. And this was one of the easier keyboards to assemble. Every key sticks very well and feels very nice to the touch. Next up, I was thinking about recapping the machine, but these large caps, I don't think I have such caps. I could do a quick measurement, just a simple. This one is 4,700. Yeah, I'm not sure if this reads correctly. It says 5,600 in circuit. How about this, which is 10,000? Gives you an indication. Well, 27 microfarad. But they give the same reading at least. I'll try with this one instead. As usual, it's out of battery. Yeah, it says 5,400 and very low ESR, so that's good. Yeah, it says 27, but it's in circuit. The other one then. I mean, if they're in parallel, of course they will affect each other. 27 MF. Yeah, this actually shows 5,500 microfarad, which is correct. So these are then 27, but they're probably in parallel. So I'm gonna assume they're okay. Are they in parallel? Yes, yeah, they are in parallel. But I'm gonna desolder one end of those. However, these smaller caps on the motherboard, I think I have the values for those. Although I have radial caps, not axial ones, I think, but I'll have a look. I took out the power supply and I desoldered one of the leads of each of the 4 capacitors just to test them. This should be 4700 and it's still 5005, a little bit high. Then this one, what does it read? Yeah, it's 13,000, but the ESR is very low. This one then, yeah, it's the same 13,000, so I guess that is the value they actually had. And then we have a 470 microfarad down here. What can you tell us? 587, but very low ESR. Yeah, so I think all these caps are good. No point in replacing those. And capacitors like that, they can be hard to find, at least if you want to have the axial variant. So yeah, I just leave them in for now. I can clearly see that this board has taken some heat. It's kind of black over here. That's where the diodes are, the rectification, and there has been some heat. I'm going to refresh those solder joints. Yeah, those suck a lot of heat. So these are the caps for this machine. You have a bunch of 22 microfarads, one 220. Then you have the two 10,000s and the 4,700 and the 470. This I don't have a replacement for. This 10,000, I actually found one, but I'm not sure if the pins are long enough. But I'm gonna leave those. I have a 470 and the 22s and the 220 I have. So I just bend it like this, should work fine. Quite much smaller capacitor, but the value is correct. Yeah, the other ones I need to order, see if I can find the same values. For the motherboard, the small ones are all 22 microfarads, 16 volts, no, 25 volts, and there's one 220. So now I just need to take out this huge PCB. It's just these plastic clips. You just use some pliers to push it in. Try not to bend it too much. Oh. Yes, come on, come on. It's loose, but the reset button, yeah, it's soldered in. It just has a nut here on the back side. Yeah, it's huge. Anyway, one thing more I wanted to do is to replace the system ROM. It's version 1.3, but there is a version 2.03, I think. So I'm gonna try that out, see if I can do that, if it's compatible. But first I'm gonna replace these caps, so that's quite quick. I found some replacements here. These are brand new, or yeah, almost new. 22 microfarad, 25 volts, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, that's 25 volts. that was the two first. That went well. Now I'm going to do the rest and then I'll be back. And that was all the caps on the motherboard replaced, and I measured some of the old ones. They're not exactly completely gone, but some were quite off in value. I mean, one of the 22 ones was as low as 16 and the ESR was like 3, 4, 5 ohms. Yeah, so these are new, and I had to use two radial caps, but those work as well. There's no issue with height. Yeah, I cleaned off the bottom plate and I'm looking for rust, and yeah, there's one spot there. That's the only one I can see. So I'm just gonna file it away. There's some stains over here, a few small rust spots, or it looks like beginning corrosion. Afterwards I just use a little bit of WD-40 and yeah, rub it in. That should prevent further rusting, at least for a while. I see a couple of spots underneath, so I'm gonna do those as well. Yeah, I think that was it for restoration work on this machine. I mean, the floppy disk drives obviously has some capacitors as well, but I'm not gonna do those, not now. Let me see if we can wiggle this back into its place. So this reset button is not original. I mean, it's not factory, because they just drilled a hole there right in the logo in the back plate. I'm going to do a little test now just to see I didn't do a mistake. Let's turn it on, see if it blows up or not. Yeah, that looks good. Yes, as you can see, it says KONTIKI 100 and the monitor program is version 1.30. And the monitor is actually the ROM, and that's the actual program code that this machine starts running when you turn it on and it boots. And then it hands it over to loading the actual operating system from disk. So that was what I was thinking about, trying to upgrade to a newer version. I don't know if there's any differences or not. I couldn't actually find any information about that, what the different versions are, but I think there's at least 2 later versions. So I'm just gonna try that out. I'm not gonna permanently replace the ROM, because this is how the machine was original, and I'm pretty sure if you upgrade the ROM, it's gonna change the name to only Tiki 100. Alright then, I'm gonna pull out the ROM chip. I think this is 2764, yes, it says here, so that's a regular EEPROM. That makes it easier. Yeah, here you can see it. The first thing I'm gonna do is to read it out. Yeah, this is Texas Instruments chip. It's a 2764, so I select that, and then obviously I selected the DIP24 variant, but this is a 28-pin chip. Yeah, that looks better. And here we can actually see the content of the EEPROM, and it actually says here KONTIKI 100 monitor version 1.30. Then I just saved that. So one of the most comprehensive resources for information about the Tiki computer is this one, djupdal.org/tiki. This is kind of an old page, not very fancy or anything, and it's in Norwegian, but here you have most of the technical information that actually exists online. And the software that actually exists, there's various different kinds of official software, like the programs that were made by Department of Education back in the day, like Calc and Brum and Avis. This was spreadsheet, word processing, stuff like that. You have the basic logo, various games and educational software. And down here you actually have DBase. This is CPM programs that has been made ready for Tiki. And you even have Turbo Pascal if you want to do some programming. But up here you have the ROMs, and here is Tiki ROM version 2.03. So I'm going to download that, and that's 8 kilobytes. And if we go to downloads, I guess it's just a binary file. So I'll just rename it to bin. I load it into the XG Pro. There. Yes, here we see it. It says monitor for Tiki 100. Anyway, I'm gonna burn this now into a blank EEPROM. No, I don't have a 2764 chip, but I have a 27128, which is double the size. But that should work okay. It's the same pinout, but it holds 16K of data. So I just fill up the 8K ROM twice on that, and that should work. So then I just change this to, what kind of chip is it? It's a ST, and it's 27C128. ST doesn't have that. I just select AMD C128. Doesn't really matter sometimes. And then I load the concatenated file that I just made, X2, and we see that it's 16K. So if we want to have some fun here, we can change the data. I can write here. I change it to Arctic Retro. And then I remove the check ID, and then I hit the program. Yeah, so there we have it, a new ROM, and as I said, I'm not sure if it's gonna work, because I'm not sure if this version is compatible with this machine, but I want to test it. There is actually one available spot for a EEPROM chip, and I have no idea what that is for, if you can actually extend this machine with some additional functionality. Yeah, let's see if that works. I didn't hook up the floppy disk drives yet, so it won't be able to boot, but yes, let's run it. Yeah, it actually works. No, it says Tiki 100 and monitor version 203W. And it also in color. It wasn't in color in the previous version. It's yellow here. I want to test with a floppy. See if it actually boots. And don't get shocked by 230 watts. No, it does nothing. Just spins. I guess it maybe needs both drives for some kind of termination or something like that. Maybe there's some jumpers or something. The reset button behind is kind of a hard reset on the back of the machine, but if you want to do a soft reset, you can press shift break. Well, it actually booted from a drive, from this. This is now drive A, and I disconnected this. Yeah, I don't know. I swapped the drives now. Let's see if same drive works on that side now. Yeah, for sure it does. It booted. How about if we access B now? Yeah, now it works. I don't know why, but apparently Yeah, maybe the drives are set up like that with some jumper settings. I don't know. Program some basic. Then print hello 20 go to 10. Yeah. So then I confirmed a new ROM is compatible and working fine. However, should I use the original ROM or should I use the new one? I think I'll go with the original because this is what came with the machine and it's correct for this particular model. Anyway, I'm gonna attach the floppy drives now, and I think this machine is completed when it comes to restoration. And yes, let's test a few things on it. Yeah, what I actually will do, I'm gonna mark this the ROM I made, and actually gonna just put it inside the machine for later use. So just place it inside anti-static bag and tape it down there. No, I'm not gonna tape it down there. I'm gonna just put my own sticker there. That's a better spot for it. Looking good. Now, this is a machine that can run CP/M software. I'm not really sure if it requires some special kind of versions, but this is actually WordStar, which is a well-known word processor for CP/M. So let's see if it will boot that. And then it turned into 80 color mode. Seems to be running some kind of script here. Yeah, that's MicroPro WordStar. Well, it's a little bit hard to read on the screen with just composite video, but definitely it's working. This is the Norwegian word processing software that was actually made for this machine back in the day. I have no idea how to use this. I think it failed, but and it has the Norwegian letters A, Ö, O. And of course, if I want to program this machine, I can use Turbo Pascal. And that was actually what I learned programming on or with back in the day at the college. Only 19K bytes free. I really want to explore this on the Tiki someday. However, in this video I don't have time for that. So there were made a couple of games for this machine, not a lot, and one of the games is a Space Invaders clone, which is actually quite good. I don't have it here on floppy, but you can easily hook up a Gotek floppy disk emulator drive to this machine. I have done it in another video where I also ran the Invaders. So if you want to see how to do that, then you can find that video. And they also made a couple of demos, at least one that I know of, that actually shows that this machine has quite some powerful graphics capabilities. I'll show you a clip from that demo here from YouTube. Yeah, as you saw, quite powerful graphics capabilities and sound too, but that was actually never utilized back in the day because this machine was mostly focused about the education. I was actually thinking about making a cable so that I can use the RGB output from this machine. But the only way to make my TV work with RGB input is via the SCART connector, and yeah, I don't think I have one right now. However, on this technical page, it's in Norwegian, but technical information about the Tiki 100, and yeah, among lots of things, it has here a description of all the ports and the pinouts. And here we have the TTL RGB, and yeah, same with analog RGB. Pin 1 is red, pin 2 is green, and pin 3 is blue, and pin 4 is horizontal sync, 5 is ground, and the 6 is plus 12 or plus 5 volts. So that should be fairly easy to make a cable. I will check now if I already have such a cable that I perhaps made before for another machine, and it might happen to use the same pinout. Actually, I have this one. This was made for the Acorn Electron machine, and it's RGB. And it actually has the same pinout. It says here Acorn Electron RGB pinout, 6-pin DIN, which is the same RGB, and number 4 is sync, pin 5 is 0 volt, pin 6 is plus 5 volts. That's exactly the same. Yes, the TV reacted as it got a video signal, but there's nothing on the screen. Machine is booted, so I don't know, maybe it's some difference in the levels of the signal, or of course could be a fault with the machine. Hey, I saw something. I wiggled the cable and I saw for a brief moment. Yeah, I tried to clean the connector here with some spray. I just cleaned them all. The label here says negative sync. I don't know what that means. There is definitely a signal and it's working, but yeah, you saw it there. I think it's bad contact either in the cable itself or in the contact on the motherboard. Let's see if I can get it to stay. There we have it. Yes, and that's very, very clear. That's very good. Let me run WordStar now in 80 column mode. And that looks amazing. Very, very nice. But I think in 80 columns mode it's only 2 colors. I mean, that's black and white. This machine actually doesn't have a character mode. It only has graphics mode. But it generates text with graphics mode. But in the full resolution there's only 2 colors, but you can choose from a color palette of 256 different colors. This machine was donated to me by Ronny Hansen, and he actually fiddles around with the retro computers too, and he has a small YouTube channel too where he have put some videos, and he also plays around with programming emulators for old machines, and he actually has made recently now a Tiki 100 emulator that is web-based. Let's take a look at that. And here you have it. If you notice the URL for this web page, it's probably just a temporary URL from Microsoft, but here's the web-based emulator, and you just start it by hitting the power button there. And it's already connected to a hard drive image, and it's now booted into A. And it's actually based on the code from the old Tiki 100 emulator made back in 2000. And it has various features, like you can connect floppy disk images to either drive A or B. Let's just mount this to drive B, and then we can go to B colon and check out the directory there. And it already features included here a lot of various software for the TK100 as disk images. And you can obviously load from disk if you want to do that, load from your local computer. It also has a virtual keyboard, and it has a printer output. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So you can check it out if you want. Play a little bit with the TK100 yourself. Yeah, so I think that was it. I cleaned up the case, and yeah, it was very dirty. It has a lot of black streaks, but it came out very, very nice. Machine is now back together, and yeah, it looks like new. Alright, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of a Norwegian computer history. Machine came out great. I'm happy it worked, and it's now better than what it was. I talked a little bit about the emulator that Ronnie has made, and I did actually fiddle a little bit around myself with the original emulator, and I have upgraded it with a lot of new features. It actually didn't have audio support, but now it has. So I'm gonna make a video about that later, I think. I already published a new version on GitHub, so if you want to do some more modifications, I'm open for pull requests there. In other news, I'm waiting for the Commodore 64 Ultimate, and in fact now it's in the mail, and I'm expecting it this week or next week. So then I'm gonna make some videos about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and thanks to all my subscribers and Patreons, and don't forget to subscribe. See you, bye bye.